Music was my first love, and it will be my last.
Music is my first love. I've got this theory that I was singing in the womb when Mum had me, and I had a transistor rather than a placenta. I am from 1961. I'm from Rosie and Danny. He was a tenor. Ave Maria. He sang it in the shower. He sang it in the garage with the door closed and we could still hear him. I am from my mother's calmness, my mother's kindness, her patience, her selflessness. When I was only a couple of hours old, I was transferred to the old children's hospital that was in Carlton because I needed to have an operation pretty quickly. Mum had me and then I was whisked off to another hospital, not so long after, and just imagining how frightening that was for her, not knowing. Around that time, a lot of babies were still dying that had spina bifida. I'm from fluid on my spine. I'm from the doctors who didn't think I was going to make it beyond 24 hours. The hospital said that I needed the last rites because they didn't think I'd make it through the day. And they were wrong. They were so wrong. And my mum was actually offered a termination when she was pregnant with me, but Mum and Dad were really staunch Catholics, so they didn't believe in abortion. And I'm quite glad that I'm here. I'd rather be here than not because, I've done so much. My dad used to say to me, "You've done a lot more with your life than I ever have." I'm from matching hats to go to church with my sisters. Hats. Little hats with the brims folded up. I'm from lots of operations. I'm from so many hospital visits I can't count. Scary, really scary. I used to hate seeing people in white coats. It just used to scare me because I'd sort of get into what pain are they going to inflict on me now, sort of thing. And got through that, and I've had lots of operations since, and I'm still here at 62. I'm from mornings sitting out the front waiting for my taxi to go to Uralla, and the kids would sort of stare at me, and my brother would say, "Just tell them you better have a good look now because the price will go up tomorrow." So I did things like that. They were long days. Every day my brother would say, "What did you do?" And every day I'd say pasting and drawing. And it would be the same answer every time. I'm from choir. I sing all the time. I sing anything that comes to my head. I'm from footy, sport and wheelchair dancing. Freedom. Being really uninhibited. Loving being with friends and dancing and music and, yep. I'm from voluntary work at a primary school, and I'd say to the kids, look, if there's anything that you want to ask me about my disability or anything, just ask me. Well, the thing that actually annoyed me most was parents saying to their children, "No, don't ask those questions." No. Why? If a child just wants to know the answer to that question, and then if they've got more questions, they'll ask, and if they haven't got any more questions, they won't ask any more. But I don't have a problem with answering those questions at all. I am from the birth of my nieces and nephews and my great-nieces. Dylan was very special because he was my sister's first child. So there was all the sort of, with me just wondering how he'd turn out and whether everything would be okay. But it was, and my sister showed us ultrasounds and, and not obviously not being able to read ultrasound, I just sort of looked at it and I thought, his spine looks really good, whereas I could have been looking at the large intestine. But that was obviously what I was worried about. But no, that was all right. Mum and Dad used to look after him, and I used to look after him when my sister was working. And when she came home, when she came to take him home, it was like pulling teeth for me. It was like, "No, don't take my boy, don't take my boy." And then she actually rang me at work and she said, "My son He was all of, 6 months or maybe even less. My son asked me to ask you if you'd like to be his godmother. And I just, yes. And I'm just crying. And I fell in love with that child in the womb. He used to, when he was little, he used to play with my crutches a lot. So I've been in my chair for about 12 years. I had a pretty bad year in 2012. I had kidney stones, and while I was in hospital, I was talking about the pain in my knees, and they said, well, why don't we x-ray you? And that's where they found arthritis in my knees, and I was walking on crutches up to that point. But then I thought, no, look, I better stop, because I want to have my legs just sort of functioning so that I can transfer, from a chair or whatever, and rather than having them go completely. And I actually still find it really, really hard because I can't get in and out of cars, can't get in and out of normal taxis. So I'm not really going out as much as I would like to. But yeah, I still miss very much, and I'm going to miss it for probably forever, being able to get in and out of cars, because I just feel less independent, and I used to be able to go out anytime. I'm from my dad's temper, and that unfortunately was part of my dad that I inherited. I inherited his bad temper. But with Dad, he'd lose it, and then the next minute everything would be fine. So it's kind of just this, this snap thing, and then he'd be all right. I just used to just go away from situations that I might feel inflamed about. So that was how I handled that. Actually, do you really want to know how I do it initially? I just say I let it out, usually in private, and then I just let it go. I might be stressed about a situation, but then I think, look, it's going to be okay, but I still get stressed. I'm a really glass half full person. I don't like negativity, and I don't like to stay there for too long at all. Like, I'll let myself have my cry. I cry a bit. I've had my cries and all that sort of stuff. But then I get myself out of it. I listen to music, and, music just gets me through. It's just like that song, Music Was My First Love, or Music Is My First Love. There's the line, in this world of trouble, my music gets me through. Stop playing Little Miss Grinny because it doesn't work. And we can't be happy all the time. It's just, there are some days that are really good and some days that aren't. I'm just happy to wake up in the morning and see what the day brings, and yeah. There was a year where my elder sister got married, my younger sister had a baby, and I thought, okay, so what's in life for me, and sort of, why hasn't this happened, or, why aren't I in a relationship, blah, blah, blah. So I went to a gynecologist and had tests, and he said to me, look, you know as well as I do, it's not hormonal, it's life. And I thought, I'm glad you told me that, because then that made me, that got me into seeing my psychiatrist, the psychiatrist I used to see. That just changed a lot of things. Got me out of voluntary employment into paid employment, got me into being away from home, living away from home, and just sort of opened up a lot of things for me that I didn't even have to think about. I just did it because I knew that it would, be better for me, so that I wouldn't get stuck in my rut. And just that I'm still here 62 years later, when I was given the last rites, when I wasn't even a day old. The things that have got me through my life is that I'm patient, I've got a good sense of humour, I'm resilient, and I'm as stubborn as a mule. Yep, I'm determined. Every day above the ground is a good day.